This is Pat Soundbites Unplugged. Unplugged, the podcast where all the artists go to tell it as it is. Careers, music, tours, and more. And here's your host, the man that refuses to eat squid, Pat Calamari.
Hey, Pat Calamari here, host of Pat Soundbites Unplugged. Hope everyone is doing well in lockdown mode and following the rules. Episode number 65 is a good one. From the great band Styx, world acclaimed drummer Mr. Todd Sucherman. Todd got a great album out first. Debut solo album, Last Flight Home. I played the track on my radio show on Sunday. Keeping new music alive on the radio airways is what I do. On WBXO, Classic Rock Redefined. And I also posted his amazing video on Facebook. So you should check that out. Great chat with Todd. Super guy. Wonderful musician. One of the best drummers, rock drummers out there. Always polls high on the Modern Drummers Reader polls for, the last 10 years or so. Rated number one live drummer, rated number one educator, and the list goes on. And here, my goodness, what vocals, what great tracks. Last Flight Home. And hey, Styx. Todd also mentions about Styx going to be releasing a new album. And he even shared a track called Sound the Alarm and talked a little bit about that. So says it's probably one of Styx's best albums out there. So looking forward to all this great stuff. Check out Todd's new album. Buy the album. Go to ToddSucherman.com. Go to his store. Check out all the neat things he's got. Autograph drum heads that we use in the making of the album itself. Please go out and buy and support this amazing musician. If you like what I do, please share, tell your friends, and get the word out there. I can't thank you all enough. Pat Soundbites Unplugged Podcast, Pat Soundbites on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook. All out there for you guys. Thanks as always. Live, love, and laugh a lot because life is way too short. Mr. Todd Sucherman of Styx.
Hey, this is Todd Sucherman from Styx, and you're listening to Pat Soundbites Unplugged.
WBXO Classic Rock Redefined in conjunction with Pat Soundbites Unplugged podcast. Such an honor to have on the line today an acclaimed world drummer with a great rock band Styx. Welcome, Mr. Todd Sucherman. Hey, Todd, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Pat. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, man. All excited for this. Officially this Saturday, May 2nd, and happy birthday, my friend. Todd's debut solo album, Last Flight Home, will be released on Aqua Pulse Records. Pre-orders for CDs, high-resolution audio wave downloads, limited edition signed and numbered 180-gram vinyl LPs are available on Todd's website, ToddSucherman.com store, and Todd's got all kinds of other neat items there. You better hurry up. A bunch of it has already sold out. So, Todd, congratulations. Taking the leap into the unknown, taking on this project, something I guess you've always wanted to do. It's an amazing album. My goodness, the lyrics, the melodies, and your vocals, man, you hit it out of the park. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, man. I mean, this was a whole grand experiment to see if I could pull off something I wasn't sure that I could pull off. I mean, I would imagine most people would expect some sort of jazz fusion drum-centric record from me, but and maybe that'll come one day. But I've always been drawn to songs, melodies, lyrics, and the stories in the song. So it just kind of worked out that this is the route I went for Last Flight Home.
Well, good for you. Great job. When I listened to the album a couple of times, it equates to one word, love. Last Flight Home, sacred book of favorite days, and I'm a lyric type of guy. You know, you're on every page. It's perfection. She's red velvet. I mean, and your vocals, my man. I mean, you were like the hidden secret. Did you not want to share that? What took so long for you to like get out there and like sing and get into that spotlight?
It's something I always wished that I could do, the way a boy would like to be an astronaut or a quarterback of the Super Bowl team. But I never thought that I would be able to do that. But I've always loved singers, whether it's Bob Dylan or Pavarotti or whatever. And I was able to work with so many great singers, having guys like, Tommy J.Y. and Lawrence. So, I was able to work with an old pal of mine, J.K. Harrison, who's really one of the only guys that I could metaphorically stand naked in front of and just talk singing into a microphone. And he's so brilliant that he would be able to coach me, which is what a good producer does, to get something not only listenable, but something that's pretty darn good. So that's kind of how we went about it, and it was a colossal learning experience for me. I've been a musician for 48 years, but I've never done this before. So my respect for singers has grown exponentially, because to be able to sing in time, sing in tune, connect with the lyric, connect all the lines together into a story is absolutely crazy hard.
No doubt about it. Last Flight Home, awesome song and video. I played the track on my radio show. Incredible positive feedback. I posted the video. I'll read you quickly a couple comments. I got mine in the mail today. The album, looking forward to hearing more. The entire CD is great. Go Todd. Wow, fantastic. Really great voice. So nice to hear you solo, Todd. I mean, that is awesome. I mean, wow. So the title, Last Flight Home, something every touring musician can certainly relate to. I mean, I think as a fan, we take it for granted, but after, you do, I don't know, a 20, 35 city tour, you finally get to go home, see your wife and daughter, and then the real fun begins. Flight delays, maybe you get off the ground, maybe you miss a connecting flight, or the flight is canceled, bad weather, your luggage is nowhere, you got to stay over at some crappy hotel, no food, and maybe 2 days after the tour and everybody else is home, you finally get to go home. Am I accurate with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to hear rock star problems, and especially now, because they are to a hill of beans. But, from my experience as a human being, when it's done, when work is done and it's time to go home, it always seems so hard to get home. I never seem to have that much of a problem flying out to a destination to begin a run, but to come home, and the thing is for me, is I'm booked with so many other drum clinics and master classes or other records that a lot of times when the guys have 3 weeks off, I might only have 9 days off, right, because I'm doing other things. So I might be, I maybe have been gone for 18 days, and I'm only going to go home for 3 days before I have to fly to Minneapolis to do a drum seminar. So if I'm delayed an hour or 7 out of those 3 days to see my wife and daughter, that's kind of a brutal thing. That's precious time. So that kind of comes from the experience of being put in that position all the time.
I certainly can, I get that, and great explanation. I love the album cover, the picture, it represents the concept well. When you see rock legendary drummers of the likes of Phil Collins and Don Henley and Ringo Starr, did that help inspire you as well, that, there's more to just drumming, I can do this?
Absolutely. I mean, Phil Collins has always been one of my favorites and an inspiration on so many levels. And it kind of drives me crazy when someone's reference for Phil Collins is just Sussudio or something like that, and not his drumming on Selling England by the Pound when he was 23 years old.
I love that album.
Still stands as a monolith in progressive rock drumming. I mean, there's so many eras. Anyway, but the fact that in Genesis, when Peter Gabriel left, they were written off for dead by fans and critics alike. and the drummer, says, well, I'll have a go at it. That is one of the most unbelievable stories in rock, because their next record, The Trick of the Tail, is a masterpiece and was their most successful record to date at that time. That would literally be like Bono quitting U2 and Larry Mullen Jr. going, I'll give it a try. And then the next U2 record with Larry Mullen Jr. singing is the biggest U2 record to date. That's a crazy rock and roll story that I don't think enough is written about or talked about. So yeah, he gave me he was definitely an inspiration, and the fact that I met Phil for the first time last September, 2 months after I started this experiment, that added some magic fairy dust to this whole thing that I kind of had to see this through, So yeah, he definitely unknowingly provided inspiration and courage for me to attempt this.
Totally agree on all what you're saying about the whole Genesis and Peter Gabriel and Phil getting in the batter's box. I get it. One of my favorite albums out there, and certainly favorite bands. With the incredible bandmates in Styx of those guys, the Tommy, the JY, the Lawrence, the Ricky, and even Chuck, what would you say was the best advice any of the guys provided to you? To just, hey man, go ahead and go for it, or any great advice that you can share with us?
I did it entirely in secret. I did this. My mother didn't know. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I didn't want to blow the trumpet that I was really doing this until I knew that I could, and I didn't really believe it until we were like getting to the mixing stages. That's when it really came into Technicolor. So yeah, I received no advice at all, because it was done completely an undercover of darkness.
Well, that kind of answers my next question, because I was kind of surprised to not see any of the guys on any of the tracks. So now you just made that pretty clear. Well, let me just say now the secret is out, man. You got such incredible pipes. Can we anticipate more backing vocals from Todd now as Styx fans in support of Tommy, Lawrence, and JY?
Yeah, I mean, I already kind of chime in on a couple songs, but I'm pretty sure that now that I've put my neck on the chopping block, I might be asked to do a little bit more. I mean, it's one thing to stand and sing, which is hard enough. To play drums and sing at the same time is definitely a tall order that needs to be rehearsed and practiced, because it's talk about having several plates spinning in the air. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at these guys, the Kelly Keegees, the Night Ranger, or the Don Henleys, or the Ringo Starrs, and you go, oh my goodness, man. We take it, again, for fans, I take it for granted. We go see a great show, we get to see you guys, and we go home, and now that I've been on this side of the equation of the business and meeting folks like yourself, and I'm not a musician, man. I love to learn I love to take one of your lessons. I would love that and learn, and I got so much better perspective and appreciation for what you guys do for a living. And it segues into me to say, man, you are every year, Modern Drum Readers Poll, #1 live drummer, #1 educator for years, rock categories. I mean, your drumming classes, your books that are out there. This year, rock category, #2, online instruction, #4, double bass, #5, recorded. I look at watching, I follow you on social media, and I see the work you put in, the master classes, and the precision, and I see the enjoyment you have in helping. Could I maybe guess at saying, out of all the categories, that one stands out the most, being recognized as the #1 educator of all the great drummers in the world?
Well, that's really important to me, because you're changing. It's going to sound like I'm adding gravitas to this, but you're helping people, and you might change some lives in the process as a teacher. Education's always been very important to me, and when I think of the teachers that mattered to me, whether it was ones from the school days or drum instructors, there's a warm, fuzzy, and an overwhelming feeling of gratitude whenever they pop into my mind, or I see their name written somewhere. And to have that effect on others, I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, one day we all won't be on this planet. One day I won't be on this planet. And if I've affected people and helped them with their musical journey and their dream or passion of playing the drums, what greater legacy could you leave to touch people like that? So, you know, we all stand on the shoulders of those who come before us. And I think if you have knowledge that you are able to articulate and share, I think it's your duty to do so. So that is something that I don't take myself seriously, but I take that seriously, you know?
Good for you. And again, as a fan, I'm not a musician, but I know you've listed, hey, even though you got 0 skill level, you want to get involved, take my class, get involved. I do see you wherever the tour is going. You're a different, as you mentioned earlier, you're doing a lot out there. So good for you for giving back. As a fan and a lover of music, I applaud you certainly for that. Ricky recently shared just the other day, Styx working on a new album, certainly not a concept like The Great Mission. Can you share anything with for me and the listeners? And now, were you involved in any of the songwriting, or how's that going, and what can you share with us?
Yeah, I wasn't involved in any of the writing, and if COVID-19 hadn't hit and life had continued in a normal fashion, my drum tracks would have been recorded for the whole new record 2 weeks ago in Nashville. So I'm, currently a part of my practice routine is to keeping my ideas sharp on those songs, because I don't want to get lost in doing other things, practicing other ideas, and then when it is time to go to the studio, have the sensation of, oh, wait, what did I want to play here? I had a nice idea for this, and I can't remember. So that's part of my daily practice routine is to at least pull out 3 songs out of the lot and rotate them and keep those sort of fresh and ruminating in my mind. The interesting thing really is, well, first off, this record is going to be absolutely incredible.
Excellent.
I can't believe that I get to have a streak of both playing on music this good, from the Antoine Fafard record, doing my own record, and doing this. Like, this is it's a drummer's dream. But it struck me the other day how prophetic some of the lyrics are that seem to deal with or mirror what we're collectively going through on this planet at the moment. And there's one song called Sound the Alarm. I damn near burst into tears in it, because I couldn't believe it. It sounds like it was written right now about what's going on. I stopped playing and my eyes watered. I couldn't believe it.
Wow. And I can let you know, Ricky did share some of that, saying, like you would think some of it was already written, I guess, by Tommy, but before this. But now there are a couple songs that he alluded to that kind of falls into place of where we're at today. And he said this is definitely over the top. And again, like yourself, being part of this amazing band, he wants to keep working and pressing, and he doesn't want to be complacent and playing just a couple of chords. So we are looking forward to that. See, talking about other bands, I know you always you've been part of Lawrence's band, Gowan. When we get the green light and maybe between a Styx tour, any thoughts of you performing some of your songs, maybe as an opener to a Lawrence show, to get you out there and hearing the folks get to see this?
I haven't even considered anything like that. I'm just having fun with this. Like I said, I didn't know that I could even do what I did with this record. So let me just get the music out there, and we'll see what comes down the line. But I have no sights on being a singing celebrity or, hey, Todd's leaving the band.
No.
So, I have no aspirations for that at all. I just hope that this music hits people in a good way, helps them through this time, and that they find enjoyment.
It hit me quite well, sir. I got to say, like I said, I'm a lyric type of guy. I certainly understood the Last Flight Home, and I liked the lyrics of the Sacred Book of Favorite Days. Sitting here turning the pages, favorite days. One thing you're on every page. I kind of got it like a Beatle type of vibe to that. Am I right with that, Lawrence? Or Todd? Lawrence, Todd.
Yeah. I mean that. To be honest with you, I came up with that title back in 1992 after some help with some psychedelics, and when I had one of my favorite days. So that phrase stuck in my mind since then, and it sort of turned into more of a romantic notion, but it still has a sort of latter era Beatles, Jellyfish, latter XTC sort of vibe. There's a little psychedelic things in little bits in that piece of music. There's actually going to be a lyric video for that song that will come out on release day on May 2nd, so you can keep an eye out for that.
Excellent. I guess the one song that kind of was the curveball for me was The Damage, especially the line, and I wrote here, I wish I was responsible for the damage around me. What you're talking about, like people just leaving, the damage of the plastic and where the world's going to? And
no, the character really in that song is just sort of a wrecking ball and a bastard who wrecks relationships, wrecks friendships, wrecks things for himself.
Okay.
So the chorus is, I wish I were oblivious to the damage around me. I wish I weren't responsible for the damage around me.
Okay.
So, having lived in Los Angeles, I knew some friends that, it seemed like every situation they got themselves into was like a self-sabotage. And some may have been very, very talented, and just threw grenades in front of them everywhere they walked. And then nothing will ever become of them, and their dreams will never happen. So was sort of the inspiration for that. It was more a character who's, a womanizer, a bastard, betrays friendships, and then wonders why their life is a mess.
Gotcha. I know I'm running out of time here. Just really quickly, Todd, the songwriting process, and you're a musician. Was it a thought of, you sit behind a piano, or you sit with your partner? And I'm sorry I don't have my note there with J.Y. Harrison, I believe you said his name was?
J.K., yeah.
J.K. I mean, was it behind a piano, behind a guitar riff, or you just more or less a lyric guy and just came up with these ideas and wrote them down and said, let's put music behind it?
It was the two of us together, and J.K. has, a bank of songs and nuggets or ideas. So we just put things together, really. That bit's good. We like this. Let's change this. Let's change this lyric. Let's change this melody line. Let's change this idea. So it all sort of came together, sort of naturally or organically like that. There was no sort of premeditated thing.
Gotcha.
And that's how I like things to sort of evolve organically. And I chose Kindling, which is the one cover on the song, to close the record, from a band, English band Elbow, whom I adore. And I think some of the imagery that they write about is amazing. I mean, two of the most impressionistically romantic songs I've heard in years are both from Elbow. It was a song called Starlings, and then Kindling. And it just so happened I was playing that song one night before this project even began, that my wife, Taylor, who's a brilliant singer, just randomly turned to me as that song was playing, and she said, "You'd sound great on this. If you ever do something, you should cover this." And so that was another germ or seed rather. That's a seed that was planted in my head. Well, maybe it was a germ. Who knows?
And I did see, I thought I read a note that Taylor provided some backup on It's Perfection.
Yeah, I kept looking for some way to include her, and none of the songs seemed to lend itself to that. And we did sort of a quasi-duet where I sang like 4 or 5 lines on a song on her first record. But nothing that we came up with lent itself to that. But with the song It's Perfection, which sort of really encapsulates what it's like to be sort of stunned and shocked when you realize, wait, this is the person. I can't let this go. I can't screw this up. And oh my goodness, wait, I'm falling in love. It encapsulates that sort of feeling. And I thought, well, we could definitely get her in the background mix and be able to take advantage of her color and tone and add just a little bit of female energy in the back half of the song.
Oh, great job. I love the tracks. I can't wait to play more of it on my radio show, keeping new music alive on the radio airways. Final thoughts. What's your thoughts on the first live show with an audience after we finally get the green light, Todd?
You know, I was asked, I did a podcast with a couple other drummers about a week ago, and the interviewer asked, so what's your dream gig? And without missing a beat, I just said, the next one.
Yeah, exactly. I imagine that I could burst into tears at random things like stepping out of the town car to go to the airport for the first time. There's going to be things, checking my bag. I mean, I imagine I could be a blubbering idiot. But yeah, it's going to be incredibly emotional. That's all I can say. I sit here in my little studio, my little den, and I look at the pictures of, I've been blessed to hang out with, I met Lawrence, I met Ricky, and hopefully I get a chance to meet you after a show, and I go, man, are these days ever going to happen again? So I can't wait to see Styx back on the road. I can't wait for this new album and that track, Sound the Alarm. Much success, Todd, on this album, Last Flight Home. I encourage everyone to go to your website, ToddSucherman.com. Go to the store, buy. Don't just download for free. That's all BS. The band put his heart and soul into this. Buy it, check it out, support this amazing musician. Todd, I hope you enjoyed the chat as much as I have.
I did, Pat. Thanks for having me, and thanks for keeping new music alive, man.
There you go. It doesn't get any better than this. And happy birthday, Todd. Stay safe and well. Todd Sucherman on WBXO and Pat's Soundbites Unplugged.